Yesterday, at this time, I said that the forecast models were showing that at this time today, we could see some thunderstorms popping up, and that's exactly what we're seeing. So our forecast models are verifying very nicely thunderstorm activity really picking up in the mountain and desert areas. And I want to bring your attention to the two storms that are forming over Mount Laguna right now and parts of Borrego Springs. These are two very strong storms that have the ability to produce pea-sized hail, gusts up to 55 miles per hour. Temperatures are going to be plummeting with this rainfall as well, and potentially even some floods. So a flood advisory has been issued for this storm system. There's actually a line of storms going up into Riverside County, but for us here locally, impacting parts of Borrego Springs, it goes until 1:30 this afternoon. We could see several more of those advisories go into effect as these storms, these isolated storms, start to fire off. And again, we're going to see these conditions change very quickly, because when I talked to you just 30 minutes ago, we didn't have any thunderstorms. So that's how quickly they are developing. You can see the clouds darkening over Palomar Mountain right now. We have seen a lot of snow, and at pretty low snow levels. Pine Valley, which is around 3,000 feet, some areas up to about 3,500 feet. Libby Lewis sending this into our 10 News Weather Watchers Facebook page, covered in snow in Pine Valley. Some of the lower snow levels included Campo and in Warner Springs, about 3 inches of snow, 3 to 4 inches of snow in areas like Pine Valley.
Just moments ago, pouring here. Let's talk to meteorologist Parry, who's been tracking this system. Not only that, we had a tornado warning in San Diego County moments ago.
And here locally, right where we're at, we were in a severe thunderstorm warning right until 11 a.m. It was pouring, it hailed, and yes, there was a tornado warning in the Valley Center area. It was short-lived.
It would be really nice to get a nice long dry stretch right now to help dry things out, get some repair work done.
Yeah.
Megan,
Again, even though we need the Megan, don't be upset with the messenger.
Oh, we do get a break for a few days, but yeah, I'm tracking another strong storm system headed our way.
Is coastal flooding something that we need to be more worried about in the future?
Yes. The short answer is yes. Climate change is leading to sea level rise, and NOAA actually predicts the West Coast will see another 4 to 8 inches of sea level rise by 2050. Combine sea level rise with high tides, warm ocean waters, and high surf, and we're going to see greater coastal flooding when these storms roll through. So this is a graphic that we actually have. It's an interactive one on 10news.com that you can use yourself. With future sea level rise, these large storms will lead to multiple areas of submergence in central San Diego. Mission Beach, as you can see, completely covered in water. In fact, Fiesta Island is completely submerged. Brandon, hopefully he'll be there when I'm
Albert's
there.
Restaurant. It looks kind of fancy, but I'm sure.
You're fancy.
Thank you. And I feel so lucky to be out here today. I actually took an opportunity to go walk around some of the booths that are here today. There are Persian cookies, which are absolutely delicious. I actually tried fresh milk, which I've never had before. It definitely tastes cleaner and more crisp, I guess, than what you get at the store. And they have fresh eggs. There's plenty of vegetables and fresh fruits, of course. So if you have a chance to come out here today. If you don't, well, it happens every single Tuesday, 2:30 to 6 p.m. year round. It is pretty warm and it's pretty muggy. I know that everybody's been feeling the mugginess that we've been having all this week, and it's actually going to be trending straight with us through the weekend. I know, it's through September.
All right.
Yeah, monsoon season's through September.
San Diego?
Yeah, what's going on, Megan?
I know. I'm gonna go fix it.
Thank you so much, Megan. Megan, are we slowly turning into Florida?
I know, it's not trending in the right direction, but Jim and I were talking about this earlier, that when climate change happens, we all feel it in one way or another. And for us here locally, it's definitely leading to more humid summers.
Because we're not talking about a cycle here that's going to change, right? I mean, we're talking about a trend that keeps increasing.
That's right. So as the water's warm, and that's with a trend that's happening, and there are going to be summers where it's not as muggy, that the water temperatures offshore are going to be a little bit cooler, but long term, it's something we're going to be dealing with for a while. All week, I've been talking about the threat of runoff being greater with this storm all across California due to the historic rainfall we just saw over New Year's weekend. So I'm going in depth on what is runoff? So runoff is the amount of rainfall that can't be absorbed into the soil after a strong storm that dumps rain, like we had last weekend. The soil moisture rises. When you get a series of storms, strong storms in particular, the soil just can't absorb as much moisture. The ground gets waterlogged. Think of it like filling up a cup of water. So the cup represents the ground or the soil. When you fill it up, it's able to absorb that or fill it. But as you continue to go, well, it has to go somewhere. It has to spill over. That is a runoff. Let me show you what it looks like in the real world. So we have rainfall coming in with a storm system. The first storm system, you can see the water level rises just a little bit, but it's able to absorb most of it. Little to no runoff occurs. Now, of course, if that's a bigger storm, you're going to see bigger impacts. Now the soil is saturated. Imagine this is what happened after the New Year's weekend storm. Storm number 2 rolls in. That's what's happening in Northern California right now. That's what's moving into our area tomorrow. The soil just can't absorb all of that new rain, and more runoff occurs.
And they mentioned that it was police officers saying you should wear blue, so I changed.
Yeah, and then I said, well, you could just take me away. I'm representing the other side.
You're
In prison stripes.
the generic criminal today. I appreciate that.
That's me.
Most of the storm is hitting right now. Let's just take you out to it. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. We are seeing some snow in the higher elevations, and as Virginia just mentioned, that rain starting to transition to snow in the Julian area. The highest snow levels are happening. Actually, they've already happened. They are starting to drop. After this band of rain pushes through, that's when the snow levels will really come crashing down. I'll pinpoint that in a second. Very heavy rainfall coming down in Valley Center, out towards the 15, parts of San Marcos, Vista, out towards Encinitas. We're looking at rainfall rates of about half an inch to 3/4 of an inch per hour. So that is just dumping right now. It's wet on the roads, there's ponding on the roads, and we could be dealing with areas of flooding. If you're in Del Mar right now in the Encinitas area, some very heavy rainfall is approaching. This band is going to be pushing inland as we head through the next hour. So if you're leaving the South Bay, the sooner you can hit the roads, the better. Or if you're able to wait until this band pushes through, things are going to be tapering off after that. So the worst of this hitting, as unfortunately the morning commute is picking up, so things are only going to be getting worse from here. The worst of it through about 9 a.m.
So, yeah, not as hot. You'll need those fans later this week, though, guys.
All right, Megan, thanks.
Coming down so hard.
I mean, it's coming down. Yes, absolutely. This Coronado shot, I showed you a Pacific Beach shot earlier. It is pouring in some areas. It's raining sideways, as Forrest Gump would say. You can actually see the trees waving in the wind. And it's not even, this is not even a huge wind maker, but it is going to be windy enough to bring down trees, which we have seen already. And at the top of the 5, I said there was a flood advisory up in the North County. That goes until 7:38, and I expected more to get issued. Just a few minutes later, the National Weather Service has issued this other flood advisory that includes almost the entire county. That goes until 8 a.m. Ponding on the roadways. The roads are slick. Be careful as you are driving in. This rain is not only, it's heavy in spots, but it's how steady it has been for hours now, almost across the entire county. The North County, we've had a flood advisory here since about 2 o'clock this morning. So really have been seeing that rain coming down. The 15, the 78, the 76, be prepared for slick conditions and for your vehicle if you're going too fast to lose control. We've seen so many spinouts already. Some pretty heavy rain coming down right along the 5, down through the Golden Triangle from Encinitas, down towards Pacific Beach, Ocean Beach, Coronado. I just showed you that camera. The U.S. Drought Monitor just released 5:30 every Thursday, so I always like to show it. We only saw a minor improvement this week, but I wanted to show you some very impressive stats that we've seen here in San Diego. So March rain stats. So this is looking just at March. We saw almost 4 inches of rain at Lindbergh Field. Ramona picked up 6.5 inches of rain. Escondido over 8 inches of rainfall. So you can see well above normal by about 2.5 to nearly 6 inches. And then when you look at the entire water year, which began on October 1st, Escondido picked up over 26 inches of rainfall, over 22 inches in Ramona, and over 13 inches in downtown. And just to put that in perspective, downtown, that Lindbergh Field report, we typically see less than 10 inches of rainfall for the entire year. To see over 13 is impressive. In fact, parts of Northern California and Central California actually saw 2 to almost 2.5 seasons worth of rain and snow this year. The April snowpack, when you average the northern, central, and southern, We're at 243% of normal.
Joining us once again with just more details on what's to come.
I know. Let's just get right into it because there's so much to talk about. So it is hot right now. We're going to trade our excessive heat warnings for high wind watches and flood watches before you know it. In fact, it's just about as hot in Ramona and in Alpine right now as it is in the deserts. Ocotillo Wells is the hot spot at 105, but Ramona at 104, just a degree shy of that. Tomorrow's going to be another hot one, but it's actually going to be cloudier, partly cloudy to mostly cloudy skies tomorrow, and an outside chance for a pop-up shower as the outer bands of the hurricane reach us. We're talking about mid-80s to low 90s at the coast, mid-90s to low 100s for our inland neighborhoods, 80s and 90s in the mountains, and about 109 in Ocotillo Wells. So this is Hurricane K, Category 2 hurricane. Our spaghetti plots are getting into better agreement that it is going to be hugging Baja and then moving west away from us. Not expecting a landfalling hurricane, but this storm is massive. So the outer bands are going to reach us. The first thing we're actually going to feel on Friday is the wind. And I actually think our models are underestimating how much wind we can expect. But from the coast to the mountains, gusts up to 60 miles will be possible on Friday before the rain reaches us, which means fire danger will be high. Friday morning, there is the potential for scattered rain and thunderstorms. The brunt of the storm is going to be arriving late Friday into Friday night, continuing into early Saturday. So for the coast, expected to see rain and wind on Friday. That chance for rain is really spiking on Friday, continues into Saturday, but will be more isolated to scattered in nature as we transition through the day. And then that chance for a few showers and thunderstorms does continue into Sunday and Monday, but Friday into early Saturday looking like our biggest impacts. That's as of today. Depending on the track of the storm will really determine if that changes or not. Big waves also impacting our coastline Friday through Sunday, waves of 4 to 6 feet along with strong rip currents and that threat for lightning. So we are still in that excessive heat warning for the coast and inland neighborhoods through Friday night, and coastal areas even all the way to the beaches on Friday could actually see temperatures up to 100 degrees. Reason being, we're going to see those Santa Ana-like winds ahead of this system. So a high wind watch is in effect pretty much all day Friday for the coast, inland, and mountain areas. You can see those gusts up to 60 miles per hour anywhere. Some gusts exceeding 75 miles per hour. That would be tropical storm force winds. For the mountain areas, we are going to see that excessive heat warning in effect through Friday, and then through Thursday, and then a flood watch in effect Friday through Sunday. 2 to 4 inches of rainfall is going to be possible, and that means flooding, especially in the mountain and desert areas. The deserts, again, this is where we could see the potential for the worst of the rain, for maybe even isolated rainfall amounts up to 5 inches or so. In the deserts, that's going to lead to flooding. So anybody has the chance, but right now the flood watch only is for the mountain and desert areas.
So we get ready now. All right.